Hello, mate. We're on.
Oh, we started.
Comedy pause. Right, should we tell them what's going on?
How are you?
I'm good, yeah. Down there. Can I see you down there?
Are you all right?
No, I'm fucking back.
You've been like this for too long.
No, but I've never done a standing up one, so...
No, I feel like we should... Maybe I should stand.
Yeah, mate. And then the guests
Make the guest stand,
yeah.
even though we're surrounded by chairs. Well, I hope you're okay.
I'm fine. I'll be fine. But first, I want to say thank you to Rachel and to Adrian and everyone at Soho Radio for making me feel so at home standing up.
Yeah.
And sorry to...
It feels like a bit of a power play, I have to say.
Yeah, well, I assure you it's not. But no, apart from that, I'm fine. I did the swim for charity and I felt really fully on top of my game and excited. And I was like, right, I'm ready to roll. And then I went to do my shoelace up the next day and it popped.
Oh.
Not very nice. But I'm on the road to recovery.
Did you end up on the floor?
Eh?
Did you end up on the floor not able to move?
And then I had to literally work from home. Like, you know.
I mean, at your age, that's basically Hugh had a fall. He didn't fall over.
Yeah.
He had a fall.
There's been some news, darling. He's had a fall. So, but no, very expensive physio is getting me there. Swimming again. Try not to booze too much. Just take lots of pills. Not the funny pills, the other pills. Can we say that on air? God, that's bad.
CBD, though. Adrian is
those pills.
Extolling the virtues of CBD.
So, how are you?
Good. On the subject of standing, I've just got back from our New York office. They've got They got desks that go up and down, all very posh.
Yeah. Okay.
And you can stand. And
We could get me some freelance over in New York.
Yeah. You can just go over there.
Yeah. So Dan sent me.
Yeah.
I mean, at Neverland, I've been standing and looking at this view across the city.
Nice.
And everyone thinks I'm pretending to be a DJ, but I'm not.
Right. So today we've got
Nicola Wood, who we can't wait. And some of her work is quite out there. There's a lot of sex. I hope the listeners are ready for today. There's a lot of sex.
Sexy episode.
But kind of sex from people like me, Dan.
You mean old?
There it is.
Oh, wow. I was right.
Old guys.
No
old
way.
Ladies. Yeah, there's, without giving it away, there's a couple of great campaigns for Relate, which we're going to talk about. But just she's got 5 or 6 belters.
That's brilliant.
And there's a story, a funny story about how I got to know Nicola. Which
we'll save for the show.
Save for the show. Anyway,
right, I'll go get her.
Go get her. Nicola Wood, ECD at Ogilvy, multi-award-winning creative and lover of a silly farty Valentine's Day card. Welcome, trying to build.
I think you're going to need to explain that one.
Yeah, straight
definitely.
away. So the farty thing, and then we can do the standing up thing because I know Dan's going to take the piss out of that already. I bought my wife a Valentine's Day card and it says, couples that fart together stay together. My wife doesn't fart, but it was a kind of joke from my part. And then
you mean you fart together? You fart in stereo at the same time? Or is it like a...
We had to write to the person who wrote the card. I don't know. But it appealed to my childish sense of humour.
You go 1, 2, 3. Or do you like pull each other's finger or what? How does it work?
I don't think it's about synchronicity. I think it's just about the fact of being comfortable together.
We are.
I think it's about harmonising.
So I saw
I mean,
the right level of audio.
This is going to be a whole subsect of behind something else, behind the behind. Yeah. So Nicola put on, I think, where was it? On your LinkedIn or something?
It was in my campaign private view.
That's what it was.
I was writing over Valentine's Day.
That's right. And I remember I was actually... going to take the culture levels up now. I was watching Vanya, the theatrical production with Andrew Scott, and it was in the cinema. You know that thing when they beam it in, and I was sort of flicking around, and I think it's around Valentine's, and I saw that. And then I was furiously thinking, I'm going to have to get hold of this person, which then I realised was you. So anyway, that's why we have a farty thing.
Yeah, we had the same Valentine's card.
Yeah.
And can we also talk about why Nicola and I are both going to get stiff necks after this hour?
Can if you want. Go on and bring it on.
Hugh's standing up. He's gone all modern.
I'm going all red. I've not got one. So I've got a bad back, as regular listeners will know. And I had a bit of a funny turn the other day, so I really have to be careful. So I might sit down at some point. So Adrian and Rachel have been very kind to set up the microphone in a sort of quite high up area. But Nicola seems very cool about it, which is making me feel really relaxed.
It's like a stand-up power trip, isn't it? It's like a weird, like kind of...
Right, so we got
I mean, I've always looked up to you anyway, so it's fine.
I'm going to do some Nicola facts, and then other people can talk. So this is one of our features of the show, which shamelessly ripped off Adam Buxton, but it's Nicola facts. Nicola's one of the most awarded creatives in the world. Yes. She's featured in the worldwide creative rankings for three consecutive years at least. She's won the cover. You've won loads of awards, but these two are mega. The coveted D&AD White Pencil and the Cannes Glass Lion. And Nicola was named in Campaign's Creative of the Year this year. So that's a pretty good roll call.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
It was,
amazing.
last year's Creative Team of the Year, because there's probably someone this year now.
Yeah, don't worry about that. We're just, you say one up.
So once you got it.
Yeah.
That's it.
I mean, we are. We'll always be.
No, there's no other years. So how are you? Thanks for coming on. Everything all right? What's in the pipeline for Nicola and Ogilvy at the moment?
God, well, we're busy. Very busy. We are working on some more Jameson work.
Yeah.
They have got a whiskey called Black Barrel, which is one of their most refined whiskies, and we are just about to go into production on that.
Cool. And now I also know from your feed that you're going to go and judge Cannes this year.
I'm on the film shortlisting jury.
So surely you probably need to start now, right? It's
I've
a lot of
currently done 200 and something.
I've heard that jury is the hardest.
Got to be,
film.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many entries. That's why they've had to do an extended.
So do a shortlist jury, and then they do an in-person
awarding jury, the ones in Cannes that will choose it.
But, hold on, you're not going to get to go.
No, I get a ticket.
Okay.
So I can go, but finances are tight, so it doesn't look like I will be going to the south of France.
Hold on.
Violin.
We could petition.
We could do it. What do they call it? GoFundMe.
Yeah. Well, we've funded Dan to go to Mexico, working, not lying on his front getting a sunburn.
Yeah, GoFundMe. Let's do it. If you get a free ticket, you may as well use it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I said. It's not often you get the comped ticket from Cannes, but
you would have been before, right?
I have been before. Yeah. I like the production company parties.
Yeah.
They're fun.
Yeah, they're nice people.
But a week of talking about advertising does get a little bit.
This is what I was literally just saying.
Well, this
about last week.
I mean, we got about an hour of this. I can go back to
I could do an hour, but it's when you realise you're having the same conversations the next night with
just a different bottle of rosé.
Yeah. And you're kind of just like, can we talk about something else now? And it's like, no, because we want to try and...
Yeah. Right, hold on. I'm going to take us on. Right, hold on. So, yeah. So we could just talk about going to Cannes all the time, but I haven't been for 2 years because Dan's finances didn't stretch for me to go.
Last time I took it and we were singing songs that we didn't like it.
Yeah. No, but we stopped
talking about advertising. We were just singing songs.
Yeah.
We had a really nice time on the beach when we did our live broadcast.
Yeah, it was very good.
With Andy Bird and all those. Anyway, right. So, Nicola, the billboard at the end of your street. This is one of our regular features.
Yep.
So, can you explain to our listeners the journey you've been on this morning? What happened?
Well, see, this billboard at the end of the street has been the bane of my life for about the past week. So I kept, obviously, sent the deck of my work over to you and my favourite other ads. And then I was like, must get that billboard. I do live in a small village in Essex that doesn't really, I've now noticed, doesn't really have much out of home.
Not even for the local farm or like the...
No, like I literally was walking my dog at the weekend, so I thought, right, I'll walk the dog, see if I can get a picture of something. I was like, no, and I thought, I know, Monday morning there'll be one at the train station because there's always out of home at train stations. So I thought, right, I'll definitely get it Monday morning. So I'm a bit late this morning. It's
Monday. It's a stress,
exactly.
Right? It's stressing enough.
Literally just about get my ticket, run over the bridge and get on the train, and then think, oh, bugger, I haven't got this out of home. What am I going to do? It was a busy train because, as usual, 10 carriages, only running 5, so everyone's crammed in like sardines. So I have to look out of the window and try and find some out of home on the way in. And
that's legitimate. That's legitimate.
Yeah,
that's
I spot the better get a Travelodge ad out the window. But I couldn't get my phone out in time.
You get a picture of someone's armpit anyway, right?
Someone's armpit, someone's head, probably like someone's head where he's doing the splits. So like his groin is on someone's head or something. So then I just had to memorise it, get to work, find it, and then send it to you. But
That's
the fact
good.
I remembered it means
Means it was good.
means it's
It
worked.
Really dedicated. Like there's two other guests we had, Dave Masterman and Matt Lever, levels of conscientious, going, making sure the deck's right. You're right there. Yeah, it's really impressive. So shall we talk about this as a sort of barometer of what's going on out there at the moment? Could you want to just explain this ad that you took a photo of?
Yeah, so there's a middle-aged guy, maybe, bit of a paunch, doing the splits, holding cheerleader things,
Pom-poms.
balloons around him, and a banner above his head saying "Brian's leaving do, going to be a late one?" ? And then it says "Better get a Travelodge." So yeah,
What do you think?
as lovely the late great Tony Cullingham would say, is it's simple, it works.
I love channeling Tony.
Always
We're going to get
Tony.
emotional. Simple, it works.
Simple, it works. Bit safe.
Yeah, am I going to tell my mates about it?
Yeah.
If I've done it?
Are you going to tell people on a podcast about it? I saw it, so I got it.
No, but we have to cover
But
it.
it's part of a series, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
Good too.
Well, I
There's one-
did look up the others. They were the similar vein.
There's one about football. It's going to go to penalties. That's not going to wait for the train.
Yeah, and I
There's
saw ones with a pair of high heels, and it
Yeah.
was about dancing the night away or something.
I think your tone thing's bang on. It's simple. It works.
But it's safe.
Safe. But it's not shit.
It's not shit.
It's not shit.
We've
and
had terrible.
It's not
stuff.
complicated.
Are they stills from the TV?
Now you're talking. No, I think this is a proper shit because they're quite considered, the shots.
Yeah, they've been shot for 48 sheet, that hasn't it?
I don't mind it. I think
But
it's...
do I
fun
want to
and
go
everything.
to Brian's leaving do?
Also,
Do you want to go
No.
to Travelodge? I mean,
can I? Okay, so now we're here. Now I'm looking at it. And I'm no photographer, but I am an aged creative. There should be a little bit more ambience there.
Well, I
like
think there
a
should
shoulder
be-
or someone
Yeah, there
else.
should be
He
some
looks like he's on his
people or-
own.
sad
It looks
party
like the
for one.
saddest leaving party in the world.
But if it was if that was the gag, you'd go fair enough. But there's that. You need the kind of little shoulder or people milling around or someone. Yeah.
I just thought it was a bit safe, and I always loved those. Is it Hans Brinker?
Yeah.
You know, the old,
Hotel.
those cheap hotel ones in
Kessel's Kramer. Did it, didn't they?
Kessel's Kramer. It was a bit edgy and Travelodge. If you've ever stayed in a Travelodge, I've got family up north and often have to pivot halfway to a Travelodge, and it is a bit
Are they
stinky.
So
a
are they
bit
worse
horrible.
than a Premier Inn?
Yes.
Are they worse than a Premier Inn? Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Premier Inn are
Talk
quite
about
good,
Premier
aren't
Inn.
they?
Did you see that thing the other day with the Northern Lights? Someone took a picture of what they thought was the Northern Lights, and it just happened to be a Premier Inn sign.
That's brilliant.
Purple glow coming out. Brilliant.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, well, look, you know.
I just thought it should just be a bit more grungier.
Right, so we're going to move on. It's our next feature. Feels really weird standing up, I've got to say. Feels
Does it?
a little bit.
Do you feel like you're...
I'm a bit-
'cause I'm not even have to move you on time at the moment. You're just going, you're like, wow.
Yeah, I'm normally more relaxed when I sit down.
You haven't even handed out the flapjacks.
Well, they're here. Yeah, actually, sure. Sorry. But Nicola's already had a Coca-Cola. I just want to say on the flapjacks. So I've made them all the time, and then I used to put bits of coconut in and cherry and everything. And then my daughter said, "You've overdone it. You've stretched the brand too far." So now I've gone right back.
Stripped it back to
stripped
the original
it back,
recipe.
Original recipe. Martha Collinson from Bake Off. Don't know how long ago it was. It was a very long time ago. And I just put a tiny bit of ground almond in.
Nice. This is where I tell you I've got a nut allergy.
Seriously, no. Fucking hell. No, because
We are not insured for that.
yeah. Actually, I'm not sure fucking anything. Right. So talking of snacks, this is a good DJ link, isn't it? Dan?
Yeah, that is a good DJ link.
That's not bad.
I like that.
We're looking at an ad for Twix, and I think I remember this.
It's years old.
This is at Grey, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember Sornby and Chappie did this, didn't they?
Yeah, I worked on them. Yeah.
Sornby and Chappie,
Yep.
Yeah. Right, so I'm going to let you... Oh, you're actually going to have to eat that.
Well, I have to put that down now.
Yeah, keep going.
That one's mine.
That's yours. So Kate Congreve is going to have one of them, isn't she?
Yeah.
And then you and I allow...
The leftovers.
Crumbs. 2 for you.
2 for you, Twix. I was a junior at Grey when we came up with this campaign.
Right.
And Adam and Sorby were the creative directors on it. And they got to go to New Zealand and shoot the TV.
Oh, okay, I can see where this is going.
Yeah, and we were a bit like, it's not fair, is it? So the art buyer at the time was like, well, don't worry, because there's this really amazing photographer. I can't for the life of me remember his name, by the way.
Yeah, we'll find it. Don't worry.
And he's based in LA, so you've got to go to LA.
Oh.
Well, you don't get that nowadays, do you?
Wait a minute, hold on.
So they didn't fly the photographer to you?
No, they flew us.
Nice.
Oh, I thought this was going to be a sad story. This is a great story.
No, they flew us to LA. And but they were still like Adam and Sorby business class to
Don't tell me to put you out the back.
Yeah. Well, premium economy.
Okay.
They were like, you can get
In the
premium
middle.
economy, and we were a bit like, oh, okay, right. Well, it's better than nothing, and we're going to LA. And then we got upgraded.
Yes.
Oh.
So
That's the best feeling in the world, isn't it?
that
when
was
happens?
just, our first proper shoot abroad, and we were in the business class lounge, absolutely tanked.
So, was that your first? Because I've got to ask, was that with Andy Forrester, who's your partner now?
No,
This
that one was with a guy called Ross, but Andy started. Ross went to Singapore to another agency, and Andy came in.
Okay, cool.
Just shortly after that,
Okay.
literally a couple of months.
Brilliant. And who was CD at the time at Grey? Then I'm trying to think.
Dave
Oh,
Alberts.
Dave Alberts. Yeah,
Dave Alberts.
man with hair.
Yeah.
Didn't they do that brilliant? Sorry, slightly going off piece here. AOL discuss. There's the internet thing. I love that. When he came in, it's like, oh, great. And great. That was sort of Grey starting to, reach its heights.
I worked on the Out of Home and the Press. Again, the seniors got to do the TV.
Right.
Where did they shoot that one?
I think that was the US.
That was a really good campaign.
It was really good.
I mean, Grey,
Yeah.
I mean, when I started in the industry, it was a bit of a joke, like, Grey by name, Grey by nature. But then they never, this got better and better. And then by the end, it was Nils smashing it, Agency of the Year, Vicky and Dave Monk and all these brilliant people. It's not quite there these days, but it's definitely...
it sort of needs to go back. I'd say that for me, Grey was just starting to, like you say, we'd just done like AOL and stuff like that, and it was just starting to...
So tell us what's going on in the shop.
So a magician is holding his Twix, which has got 2 fingers in it.
Yeah.
And in the magician's box is his apprentice, but he's obviously carved her in half and split her up so that she can't get to his Twix.
Good. That's good.
So it's 2 for you.
Was the line already there?
No.
So you came up with that one as well. That's
Then I was trying to find some of the other ones to this as well, because I was looking, and I found that in the 80s or something, they had a very similar campaign which was called "One for You, One for Me," which is quite similar.
Oh,
so
nice.
I thought, that was quite similar.
2 for You is good. I like 2 for You. Simple. Works for a billboard as well. It's absolutely perfect.
Yeah, because you kind of think already like twin billboards, you can play with all sorts of... I mean, I remember seeing it thinking like you, going, oh, it's a good campaign now, because I'm seeing Twix is such a good thing to work on because it does have a bit of difference, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Twix fits. Was that one? Probably about 70s when I was around. Right. Okay, we better... can we move on?
Yep.
Right, we're going to go to the work. So I'm going to crack the joke now before Dan does. So this is what I wrote on the script. So we're going to get into the work now, and a subject very close to my heart, the joy of later life sex. Dan.
Insert gag from down here. That's what it says on the...
Yeah, pretty much. Right,
I'm not inserting anything. So.
Genuinely, I was thinking about, to try and describe this to our listeners. They probably would have seen it, but it's sort of like, it's pretty spectacular because if you go, right, so like we've got billboards, we're going to have people having sex on the billboards, going, right, okay, yeah, well, that could sort of work. But then they're British people so that's already another sort of barrier to like, oh God, that'll be quite hard because British people are a bit sort of reticent. And then they're old British people. Yeah. So I don't know how you've done this, but you've got old British people shagging on outdoors.
We do.
Tell us. It's amazing. Amazing campaign.
It was an idea. We initially had sold it to Boots, but Boots weren't brave enough to run it.
Okay. That's interesting.
Because we were looking at like busting taboos and stuff like that. And a planner had found this statistic, which the next campaign comes off, but the statistic was the biggest rise in STIs was in the over 65s. And we said, oh, well, rewind a bit. No one even knows the over 65s are actually still having sex, let alone they've got STIs. So we just thought it was a really great thing to bust that myth that, you get to a certain age and you stop having sex because you don't. So we worked with Rankin to photograph some very intimate shots, let's say, of elderly couples. But there was a intimacy coach on set. So they were working with the guys to make sure they weren't doing anything they weren't comfortable with.
So I've got a million questions already.
Yeah.
Right. So how do you go about casting this? How do you go about starting this? So if you go into your creative director, were you creative or creative? You're both.
Creative, yeah. We were
so
both
you go into them and go, I've got this idea. Just show old people having sex, and everyone goes, yeah, maybe. And then where'd you go?
Well, the hardest thing was when we put into Google.
I got to stop myself from making that.
Yes, I was looking at you. She's teased you up.
When I was looking at Google to try to find something for some stim so that we could say, look, let's put big posters like this up there. Even on like Getty Images or something, there was only really twee pictures of older people holding hands or gently kissing, and we wanted to show the realities. So we ended up getting pictures of people like David Beckham and Victoria. They did some raunchy. Yeah. I can't remember one of the perfumes. They did some raunchy, and we were like, okay, imagine this.
Brilliant.
But a 65-year-old.
That's
so
it.
We ended up having to. That's how we had to pitch it, because we literally, these sort of images didn't exist. So we had to create
actually, that's
our
a really
own.
smart way to pitch it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Such a clever idea.
If you can show that this kind of imagery is out there already for the younger generation, but no one's showing it as.
Yeah.
That's great. That's your one-line pitch, isn't it? And did you... So if that was me, I would be cutting a head off an old person and put it on David and Victoria's
body. I
bodies.
did try to do some really dodgy photoshopping, but it did look a bit alien. And in the end, we were just like, no, we'll just stick with Beckham.
But you got the idea. I mean, but then obviously you go, yeah, great. But then how do you do it, and who's going to do it for you? So did you have a relationship with Rankin, or did people say, look, he might be the guy to pull us off, or how did that work?
Jules Chalkley, our lovely boss, he was just like, there's only one person that can really do this. It's got to be Rankin. It was over lockdown, so it was just through emails and stuff. He just jumped on it straight away. As soon as we sent him a deck saying, look, would you be up for it? It's a charity, there's no money, but and he was like, absolutely. And then we used a casting agent that we've got like the point that we were like, we don't want actors. We were like, we didn't want people acting this. We wanted genuine couples. So it was quite a task finding genuine couples that were sort of willing to bear all. The lady on the left there, the one that says you're never too old to play with toys, that's my nan.
No.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So she's 89 now, so she was 86, around 86 when that was taken.
How did you pitch it to her?
So basically, all these lovely couples were from like 68 to 72, 75, say. And I was like, we just want someone in their 80s as well. Like, we couldn't quite find someone. And so I sat my nan down with a cup of tea and I was like, I was talking about my granddad, and he'd passed away a couple of years before. And I said, do you think that you'd want to do a campaign? Like, you could still wear a little slip or, but you talked about sex with granddad. Because they had to interview them as well.
Right.
And and I knew my nan had been quite active because years ago I'd gone to Thailand and she asked me to pick up some Viagra.
Right, okay.
When we were in Thailand, because you could get them
I love your nan.
Yeah.
Do you think she's going to listen to the podcast? We could sort of say hello to her.
She might do.
Hello.
What's her name?
Margaret.
Hello,
Margaret.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
Yeah. So Nan was like, oh, they wouldn't want me. I said, no, let me just take some pictures and I'll send them to Rankin. I was like, and he shot the Queen, Nan, so,
Good. Nice selling.
Yeah. So Nan did lots of posing in her bedroom, the arms up and stuff in her bra. And I sent those, and Rankin loved her and was just like,
brilliant.
I didn't tell him that she was, I just put her in the deck, so I didn't want it to be like,
no nepotism here.
Yeah, this is my nan. But he was just like, she's brilliant. I think what was great for all of these was we were just coming out of lockdown. They just had their jabs.
Right.
So we could start to
Yeah,
mingle.
they would have been in one of the first categories for getting jabs as well, which is great.
But my nan hadn't been to the hairdresser for over a year. Wow. So when they got on set, and it was pretty much the same with all of them, when they got on set, they were like pampered for about 2 hours and they loved it. And they all had their nails done and they had their hair done and their haircuts and stuff. And it was so lovely.
Brilliant.
But that was a real bucket list moment for me, I think, was seeing my nan be photographed by Rankin.
And he must have, obviously we've got the select there that ends up going forward, but there must have been a load of images that he took of her that he's given you for...
I think it's the interview though. There's an interview where we like...
A video.
Yeah, and we put it all together. And she's sitting on this sofa in a dressing gown. And she just starts the sentence with... My sex life with my husband was always intense. And then she went, and as we got older, it got better.
Oh.
I was just like, oh my God, that's my nan. And then these were put up in various places around the country, and one of my uncles lives sort of South London somewhere, and he said he nearly crashed his car and sent on the family WhatsApp one of the pictures, and then was just like
oh my God.
Why is Auntie Margaret saying that she's never too old to play with toys?
Fucking hell.
And then he replies saying, wait till you see the video, mate.
Yeah, wait till you hear what she got up to with Barry.
It's absolutely brilliant. I had no idea. I mean, this is why we have the show, isn't it? To find the stories behind the billboards. But you kind of... So I was thinking, did they all... So once you've got your cast of people... Did you shoot them in Rankin's? Is it as like a closed set in his studio in Camden, or was it at their houses, or where?
No, it's in his studio, closed set.
Yeah.
It was all lovely because they were all there together, but they obviously didn't go in at the same times. But they were all hanging out upstairs together, and then we'd come down into a very cornered off.
Part of the studio, yeah.
And did you have were there others, or were these selects, or did you have other sort of people that were considered, but then you didn't use their shots?
There was one other couple. It was an Asian couple, but obviously because of their values and their beliefs, they didn't want to get naked, and we ended up having to shoot them in a bed with the duvet and stuff. And it, we did run them somewhere, but they weren't really our select. So these guys were the main ones. So
the line, you're right, it sounds like you had to kind of get the ball rolling. Let's talk about later life sex, but before you then, we'll talk about the other campaign in a bit, to then go to the next beat. It's quite a smart bit of thinking from all of you at Ogilvy. Was that like a team of you said, okay, let's just wait before we do that campaign, and we'll relate okay with that? Did they know that there was this other campaign coming?
No, we didn't talk to them about the other campaign. We just said, I think in the first instance, you're a charity about relationships, and they have counsellors and sex therapists. We were like, you should really be doing this and getting Britain talking about sex in later life, and they loved it. They were all over it.
What was the?
So it wasn't an initiative that they had. It was.
No, it was one of those. We did it for Boots, and unfortunately, Boots just passed and didn't think it was for them. Maybe they were just too high street.
Yeah,
and so
you could have done Boots like condoms and stuff like that, or
we were just doing
an awareness.
it for Boots as like an awareness.
Yeah.
But we loved the idea so much. We were like, we've got to find somebody out there who could do it.
It really, I mean, it must have been. It's weird, isn't it? COVID, the timing and everything. Just it came then right at the moment, and then your nan, that story. None of that would have happened. I know COVID does some awful things happen, but then that might not have happenpened.
It's quite a nice moment in the career, though, isn't it? Getting family involved and something that lives forever.
Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah, because like you say, we talked a little bit earlier. We'll talk about the Mate campaign, but once your work goes into culture, like popular culture, or into your personal culture, it becomes more than, just done some ads for this beer,
Well, they put Nan's picture in Vogue. So I text Nan saying, "You're in Vogue." Dream come true. It was brilliant.
Have you got a picture of that?
I'll find it.
Because for the feed, we could have just a little Right, okay, we've got to move. We can talking about this one all day.
I've got one more little story about
keep going.
to tell you.
Yeah, go on.
She was very worried when it went out, and I was like, why are you worried? I was like, and she said, well, don't want Joe over the road. And we know Joe over the road. He's like, all right, yeah. He's like, don't want Joe over the road getting any ideas. And I said, I don't think he's going to get any ideas. And she said, well, just as long as he knows, because she often, since my granddad passed,
right,
because she cooks a dinner and she doesn't want to see it go to waste, she'll dial his number, Joe over the road. Joe, got a dinner for you. Okay, Margaret. And he comes across, but she won't invite him in.
Right.
She gives him the dinner and off he goes. So she didn't want him to think that because she had this thing with sex toys and all that it meant that he could eat his dinner in the house. Nope. He still had to take
Did you have to step into the media plan and say, just don't put it around?
Well, I did end up having to say so. Don't worry, it isn't going to be in Essex. It is like big cities,
I'll make sure this is run somewhere else.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Very good.
This is one of the best ever stories.
I'm sure Joe over the road has sought out the billboard.
Joe over the road.
Got a picture of it.
It's like a character
I know,
from...
but Joe over the road now is invited in for dinner.
Oh.
So it's been 3 years and he is occasionally comes in for dinner, a cup of coffee now. So he has got his foot over the threshold. But it's definitely not a foot in the bedroom.
Yeah. No, plenty of time. Well,
I don't think so. Not anymore.
Yeah. Right, we're going to move on. I was going to say we're going to come down to earth a bit, but actually we're not. We're going to go up into the sky, but I think this isn't going to reach the peaks we've just had. So we've had Adam Hinton on the show, and we love Adam. He's a very, very good photographer, obviously. And I remember seeing this work. So this is the New York We're Back for British Airways. And again, I remember seeing Adam's name on it, really liked it. I think it won a Creative Circle Gold, and we had long chats about it. So I love this piece of work. We both always talk about this.
It's another post-COVID piece, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so
it is.
I have to admit, we went on your website and Dan, should we read out? Because it's really well contextualised on your website how you did it. You know, the sort of the parallel.
Yeah.
What do you reckon?
Yeah.
Read it out. 1932, America in the middle of the Great Depression, trying to build its way out of it, literally. One image became a symbol of hope during this time. Lunch atop a skyscraper. So it's the guys working across it, the black and white shot, which went on to become like one of the most iconic images of New York, just forever. And in 2021, the world's in the middle of a global pandemic and the economy is reeling. London to New York, British Airways' most lucrative route, is just been allowed to reopen. So the hope's on the horizon. So you did something with that image. Do you want to tell us what you did?
We did. We painstakingly recreated it. And it sounds really simple, but it really wasn't. But we painstakingly recreated it to have all the guys that were sat on the skyscraper, what is it called?
Girder.
The girder.
Yeah, girder.
To be looking up. So they were looking up instead of looking at each other and at their fags and whatever else they were doing back in 1932. But the 2021 version was they're all sat there looking up at the sky.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
It's just so brilliantly simple, isn't it? Sorry, John.
So iconic is that original image that there is now an attraction atop of the Rockefeller Center.
Is that right?
Where you can go and sit on a girder that lifts up, and it takes, with a group of people, and it takes your picture over the New York skyline and then spins you back round and puts you down.
Is that what you were doing in New York while you're on that
No, I
business
saw it when
trip?
I was there. I didn't go on it. But
Another holiday.
It's such a... Yeah. You should. It's
No,
like, it's
it
like
was
going home to my
business.
wife.
Sorry, mate. Yeah. Sorry.
But yeah, so iconic is that image for New York. It's obviously on postcards around the city and all sorts of stuff. But there's now a whole attraction devoted to that original image.
I mean, what I love it. So, can you tell us? I mean, what I love about it as a creative, the simplicity and the not fucking with it too much, but just enough. Because they could have all been smiling and going, "We're back." But the touch of looking up is just...
But also, remember, you
beautiful.
have to put yourself back to that time as well. So during COVID, planes weren't flying.
Yeah.
And we live on a flight path for a quite small airport, but those who live in London used to planes flying over all the time. And when they started to fly again, you were looking up.
I know, because I was...
The world's open again.
When I was thinking about
isn't
this...
It is.
I got, you know, your brain can't... Because I kept thinking, did that... Because I was going, so did the planes stop flying?
Yeah.
And then you're going, country's fucking
grounded,
closed.
Yeah.
And you know, because your brain shut it all off. You're going, well, no, it's all right. That wasn't that bad. And you're going, oh my God, it was.
No, there's no plane. And we were sat out in that very first lockdown. We were sat out in our garden, you know, and birds are tweeting.
Yeah.
there's no
But it was like,
plane going over.
do you
every now
remember
and again.
the ash cloud?
Yeah.
From the
From the volcano.
Icelandic ash
That was
cloud.
amazing, wasn't it? Anyway, like, we're going off piece. Right, come on, Nicola, tell us what happened. Sorry. How did you read?
Yeah, how did it happen?
So you'd think it would be as easy as putting a green screen up with the girder and having the guys all sat together.
Right.
But it was coming out of COVID and we
Right.
had COVID restrictions. So only 3 people could sit next to each other at the same time. So we had to shoot in groups and in plates and...
Yeah, because they're literally right next to each other. Aren't they?
they're like on top of each
So
other.
you
aren't they?
can't,
Like
you
arms.
couldn't just do it.
No. And we had to try as much as we could to get authentic clothing from the period so that even if we were to retouch some of the original clothing, that it wouldn't, you know, it was such a... The guys that did the retouching was incredible. But
Okay, quick question.
yeah.
I'm a client. I say I haven't got loads of money. Why didn't you just retouch the image and just move all the heads up a bit?
Well, this is what I thought, because I made a really crap comp of just people looking up and I stuck their heads over this. And I was
Yeah.
like, so surely it's as easy as.
Done. I love creatives. That's how we think.
But apparently it's not as easy as that, because you see the guy with the bare chest. There's
Yes.
that one guy with the bare chest.
This chap here. There's
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when he looks up, his right shoulder comes down.
Yeah.
So that's why they told me it wasn't as easy as that. Because
Well, I suppose your whole posture.
basically little things like that, you would have known it was a fake and a comp. So we basically matched the men as close as we could, both in terms of ethnicity. And then what was really hard as well was because we were coming out of a lockdown, people would put on a bit of weight. So the guys back in 1932 were obviously quite slender,
the Great
because
Depression.
they're in the
They didn't have any
depression,
food.
not eating, drinking a lot, working ridiculous hours, whereas our lot have sat eating super noodles or whatever they've eaten for however long. So some of the guys, we were like, no, we definitely can't cast that person because they weren't skinny enough.
These
or...
guys are puffing on they look like they got a fag going at the end there, aren't they?
Yeah, so we couldn't do the fag. We had to, what was it they were holding instead? It was like a piece of chewing gum or something. But I remember them saying, I was like, they have to look like they're still sharing something and holding something. But obviously we weren't allowed for there to be a cigarette. But I think we put chewing gum in.
And so, sorry, I couldn't have stand up. I've just been kneeling down. So, did you have a girder then? Did Adam Hinton get a girder?
Yeah,
Did
they
he?
got a girder, and they got a. So he'd take a shot with his little camera, boom, go over to the machine with the retoucher. The retoucher would have the original, and then would be like, no, that guy's shoulder's got to come down a slight bit. So then he'd go, boom, come back. No, this guy's got. So it really was like they were matching on set.
And there was a girder on set in the room.
There was a girder in the room.
That sounds a lot like how we've built some of the kind of augmented reality installations where you're trying to match frame by frame and like, for example, if a Disney character walks into frame, does something and walks out of frame, you always got to use the same entrance and exit. So you have to match frame by frame, and you do this 50-50 mix over the top where you can say, oh, no, Mickey Mouse needs to move left a bit because that's where we're going to exit frame from. And it sounds like the same process, but in photography. So you have to go, no, that bit slightly out, shoot again, that bit, and then they have to hold the position as well because they just forget.
Yeah.
You know,
so that makes me think: how long were you given to do this? You know, to shoot, because like when we had Graham Fink on a while back, and he talked about this B&H ad they did with bees. We had 2 weeks, 2 week shoot. A still.
For a still, yeah.
So, you know, like now you might get an afternoon or something.
We had a day.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, it was a day.
Fuck, I thought you were going to say a week because there's lockdown, so there'd be loads of like time.
No, so it's staggered. So you get.
So they couldn't all come in at once. They had to come in threes. They had to be shot in threes.
Shot in threes. And then the 3 were pieced together. I think there was a 3, a 3, a 3, and a 2. They were pieced together.
And then, so the backdrop, where was...
That's the original.
So you, okay.
Got the rights to the original.
Also, sorry, I just thought there, Adam Hinton, quite an interesting choice, right? Because I've worked with him in the NHS, quite reportage, quite on the hoof, loves it, you know. And this is actually, it's weird, isn't it? Because it is very real.
It's a technical process.
Technical thing. Could you have gone, because you could have gone to someone like Rankin, actually. Did you consider others, or was it Adam all along, you know, to shoot it?
We really liked, we'd worked with Adam years and years before that on a Home Office campaign, and we really liked him. We really liked his casting. Yeah. And we did think that this was going to be down to, well, it is down to the casting as much as well, isn't it? As anything. And he was technically brilliant. Because we had lots of conversations, like, can we just superimpose heads? Can we? But he was very much from the beginning, no, we need to recreate this if we're going to do it properly.
That's good, because, you could, you know, in a shittier world with, you know, less money and less craft and less creative, you'd have gone, let's bosh it together. Yeah. You know. No, it's brilliant. It is. The more you hear about it, the more I love it. It's just got so much around it. And the trouble is now, I find, so I remember, without naming names or anything, on that jury, it got a bit awkward because it was so fucking simple, this idea. It's so brilliant,
I know.
right? It was a bit like sometimes when you talk about IKEA bag at the moment, and everyone, everyone's going, oh, where's the film with it? Or is that it? You're going, that's it. It's done.
That's the point.
That's the point.
It's out of home.
And it really infuriates me because I remember people on the jury going, well, and they were saying things like, oh, it's a bit simple, or it's a bit easier. I'm going, no, it's neither of those things. It's not. And
it definitely wasn't easy.
No, but you know that when people throw away comments, and you sort of have to have someone to stand up. Yeah. God,
it's so simple that a few people didn't realise that anything had changed.
Right.
So there were a few.
Should they have been standing up?
The few people were just like, oh, it's just that famous picture. They've just used that famous picture.
Saying New York, we're back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, no, we haven't. They're looking up. Oh, yeah. So they are.
Yeah. Couldn't they all be pointing?
Yeah.
Every time a plane goes over.
Like the kid, the little kid.
Yeah.
Well, look, it's a masterful piece of work. We're going to have to move on.
Yeah, it's
Dan,
very good.
How's our timing, Dan? Are we all right?
We're good. We're all right.
Right. You've got such a brilliant portfolio. It's so varied. It's great.
Thank you.
So good. So this is, what's the client on this? Mayor of London. Mate. So I've got to say, I imagine this. I was on the way here and I was thinking, was this really, really hard, right? As a brief, I think it is. But then I also thought, it's not easy, but you've got something to go at. You know, sometimes you go, oh, I've got a beer or a car, or a lollipop. What's left to say? But this really is. But it's so fucking difficult.
Yeah.
So for listeners who don't know, it's what is it? Calling out other men who are being misogynistic. Yeah, that's it. That's the brief.
I think the hardest thing for us was that the year before we'd done the film Have a Word.
Yeah.
Which is what won the White Pencil and the Glass Lion. And
right.
It was a bit like, oh, God, how do we follow that? Because that was so successful.
Yes.
And that was the first thing we did to sort of look at bystander behaviour, because we've got this really great team at Ogilvy called the behavioural scientists. And
that's a creative team? No,
they're a department, the consultancy. They're under Rory Sutherland.
Oh, right.
And they are like just this little team of absolute brains.
Secret weapon.
Yeah, they're absolutely phenomenal. And
So can you brief them then for a particular
Yeah,
brief?
we work quite closely with them across a few things. Like our recent pitch that we just did for Molson Coors, we worked with the behavioural scientists on that, and it is sort of becoming our superpower. But the original Have a Word, the behavioural science were involved from the start, and they helped write the brief that was, if you want to make change, you've got to stop doing adverts for women because they're useless, they're pointless, they're not the ones that they know that there's violence out there against women. We don't need to be told that. If you wag your finger at the perpetrator, they're ignoring it, standoffish and a bit like, well, I'm not a rapist, so I'm not going to look at that. So they shifted it to the bystander. So that's what the Have a Word was. It was have a word with yourself, then your mates. And it was sort of calling out, if you're in a group of mates and you are seeing them being misogynistic, that they are the ones that go, right, you're taking it too far now. And that was really successful. So Mate came out of, the behavioural scientists said that was brilliant. We helped change a law. But we still have got guys saying, I really want to step in. I really want to call out my mates, but I don't know what to say. So this brief came from, what can we give the guys? What tool, what weapon, what word can we give the guys to use? So we were creative directors on this, but there was a team, Dave and Ian, and they came in and was just like, we're going to say mate. Mate.
It's a word that doesn't say much but says a lot.
Yeah, and again, the behavioural scientists, they always come in with these amazing facts that you're like, ooh, and they have this like, apparently like bird behaviour. When birds get a bit angry with each other or want them to listen, they elongate their tweet.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So they would just kind of like, if you elongate a word with a vowel, and then you put the hard emphasis at the end, it comes across as,
that's amazing
banter, but I'm being serious.
Because I've read this again on your website, and it's like, it's brilliant. It's you don't get it on your own, do you? As creatives, you need help, but this is like another level now.
But that's a lovely part of that call back to nature to change something that's been grown in society. It's like,
and there were a lot of people that hated this campaign.
Yeah, I saw that. I'd never seen anyone do that. Who was saying that?
Oh, it's just like, well, it's quite funny.
As in industry people hating it.
industry and in the public domain. People like one day the Daily Mail would slate it, but then the next day someone else in the Daily Mail.
Well, you've made it if the Daily Mail is slating your
would
work,
come
right?
back and defend it. So it was the same in the Sun. One day, one of the reporters or editors in the Sun would say something, and the next day, one of the others would come back. So we had this real debate. And Lawrence Fox absolutely hated it and was vocal about it, which I thought was a win.
Gotta say, that's
big win.
Yeah, you've
probably
done it.
the biggest
so
win.
as soon as he's slagging off any of my work,
Yeah.
I'm like, well, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
And it's exactly him that we were talking to.
Yeah.
Those sort of people.
Turns out you're exactly right.
And then people like Piers Brosnan.
Maybe he hasn't got any friends.
Piers Brosnan. I always say Piers Brosnan.
Piers Morgan.
Piers
I
Morgan.
wish Piers Brosnan did get behind it.
Let's get Brosnan.
Piers Morgan got behind it and was like, no, I honestly think this is really good. I think it could work. And so there was this huge debate around it.
But actually, that's what it's intended to do.
Yeah.
Like, if people are talking about it, it's a win. If people are talking about it in a negative way, it's a win.
Yeah.
It's if the conversation is there, it's a win.
It definitely was talked about.
Yeah, because I remember, like I was saying, it's such a, when you get, so just to go back a beat, when you got this brief, or the brief came in, do you, as an ECD, go, right, I know the team or teams to put on this, or do you open it up, or do you say, I'm going to have a go at this? How do you manage that? Because it's quite, I know you talked about the behavioural people, but do you have teams that you particularly...
Yeah, so a brief like this one, we do a thing called a switch up, which is where we will put teams, like creative teams, in with a strategist and maybe someone from behavioural science and send them away for a day.
Right.
So that's how we came up with this one. And
little
then
clusters, yeah.
A little cluster, and but funny one, because Dave and Ian, the creative team behind this, they weren't actually supposed to be on the switch up because they were on something else, and they stole the brief. All the best creatives do.
Yeah.
And they just joined the switch up at the end of the day and came in, and we're just like,
Can I say, it's always the creative teams who aren't officially briefed. I remember at
Exactly.
BDH, if you're on Levi's, kiss of death, you just turn up at the end of the day, go, hey, John, I was on a few scripts, and then all your work would always feel fresher.
Yeah.
Right, we have to move on a bit because Dan's just given me the international sign for hurry up.
I said 10 minutes.
Yeah, or you're a bit of a wanker. Yeah. So we're going to go back to some sex now.
Yeah,
Because we haven't spoken about sex for about, what, 10 minutes? Okay, so relate the horny... So I didn't read this properly, but it's the Hornicultural Society, not the Horticultural Society.
No, it's horniculture.
So I'm a key gardener, and my parents were, and my wife is. So I was thinking, Nicola's just done a thing about gardening or something. And then I just leant in a bit and I was like, oh my fucking God. So this is about, like you alluded to earlier, people who are over a certain age still having a pretty good amount of sex, but they are getting STIs.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yeah. So the biggest rise in STIs is in the over 65s.
Wow.
And it's still the case now. That's
Dan, do you want to
Well, maybe not since our condoms came out. But no. So our campaign was to create a society called the Hornicultural Society. Rightly the play on horticultural. And it was if over 65, one of their favourite pastimes is gardening, let's put this message in the garden centre. So we put condoms in seed packets.
Right
And put the message of STIs being on the increase in the 65s on the packs.
Right.
And they're quite suggestive packs.
Yeah. Spotted that. Let's have a
Like
look.
little hidden labias in the artichoke and the onion.
There's a play on the emoji landscape that we live in as well.
Yeah, with the aubergine.
And the plums.
So again, who? Because was it another proactive piece? Was it the same team behind? Well, you from the older, or was this now another team?
No, this was the same team. It came out the same brief. We'd bottom drawed it, and then we were just like, oh, they're just too good to keep in the bottom drawer. We've got to get them out somehow. And Relate loved them. They were just like...
And did you have to, because I love it, did you though have to partner with a garden centre or a chain of them, because it's super media specific, isn't it? And were they okay with it? Was it a bit?
It was quite awkward.
Straight into Kew Gardens. We've got a new product for your range.
Well, yeah, because it was.
Got some new seed.
We did put some of the out of home around this garden show. I can't remember what the garden show is
Chelsea.
called now. That's it, Chelsea Flower Show,
which is coming up, I think.
Yeah.
It took a bit of persuading, but got some very good account people that do that part. Part of the job, because I can't go in there going, oh, can I put a labia up in your garden? But yeah, this was a super, super fun project.
It's good. It's incredibly, without your, the science bit, the fact, it's nothing, is it? Because you could sort of go and but once you have that, it's killer, isn't it? You're just off and running.
I mean, this was, again, it was one of those things, it was like talked about on This Morning and things like that. And there were people in the garden centres when we were doing like interviews, and I think Channel 5 were down there interviewing, and one of the women was just like, I don't understand it. It's not like we're going to get pregnant. And then it was like, that's exactly why we've made these, because it's not about, and literally they are the generation whose sex education was wear a condom, stop yourself getting pregnant, not wear a condom, stop yourself getting some sort of disease. And because they were then like past their, menopause, or they were just like, well, we can't get pregnant, we don't need this. It's like, no, you really do. And then once people got it, they were just like, education I see. Yeah. So it was.
I hope that clip from Channel 5 News was on the first 3 minutes of the long case study.
Yeah, no, it was, and there's some. I think it was Richard Manning or something. I think he was in there talking, and we did get an email from a very, very angry American. Don't know how they saw it. Some American lady who told us we're going to burn in hell.
Oh yes,
yeah. But I imagine there's quite a few people will burn in hell.
Yeah, we were going to burn in hell for this. So
yeah, well, you look like you've done all right. You're not. You haven't.
I see those things all the time, though. We've seen it because when on some billboards of the stuff we do in the US, there's always someone from the far right or far left who comment and say that we're all going to hell. And
I just thought, how's it? Because they signed it with it was like almost like a letter. Like we said where they were from. Down south.
Say Donald? Was Donald on there? No.
Yeah, no. I was kind of like, God, you've gone to all this trouble.
Yeah, to complain.
to
you were really that offended by something that happened? Didn't even happen over in.
Yeah, we didn't put it in your garden centres.
But again, it's another. It's advertising, getting out of advertising village and being part of culture, which is. Yeah, a lot of your work seems to have this lovely quality. So we're going to go, again, a bit more into that kind of world. I hadn't heard of this before, by the way. I love this idea.
It's new. It was.
That's probably why.
It only came out April the 16th was
because it was the
registration
voting.
day.
Right.
Yeah.
This is for voter apathy.
Yeah, for voter registration numbers were really low. So My Life, My Say are a charity who are trying to give a voice to every young person. So they just came to us with a brief and said, can you help us? And we were a bit like, oh, I think we only had about 3 weeks to do something. And but again, our lovely folks down in behavioural science were like, oh, actually, this is an advantage for us because young people leave anything urgent to the last minute. Yeah, and they won't take anything seriously until it comes to crunch point. So they were like, if you go out on this on the day before or the day of registration, you'll get more votes registered than what you would have if you'd gone out before.
That's great.
So I was like,
because they've already left it to the last minute.
Yes, you were like getting them in the moment where they're like, oh God, I can't leave it now.
Yeah.
But it's a really, really great idea that again came out of had a great fact behind it, which was something like 70% or 68% of young people are more likely to vote in reality TV than in an election.
Yeah, that's a belting fact, isn't
it?
Yeah.
So we just used the fact that, they'll vote to keep celebs in a house, but they won't vote for their own rental rights, or they'll vote for for a celeb to eat some cockroach milkshake, but they won't vote on whether school
My
children
daughter just,
can get hot meals.
Both of my daughters just voted, and they were so proud to vote. I go, "Come on, Dad, what time are we going down?"
I remember the first time I voted. I couldn't wait.
Yeah, she said, this is not a political podcast, by the way, anyone, but my daughter said, "Dad, we're going to get them out." And I think I knew what she was saying. So I said, I think the night before, some guy came around and said, are you voting? Do you know what you're voting? And Dorothy got it, and she said, "Dad, it's just Labour. Everything." And I was like, okay, got it. So that was our thing. But I think it's... Again, it's a really lovely piece of work, isn't
and
it?
you took the Alternet screens as well, and it's an amazing setup, isn't it?
I'd never paid much attention to it, which is really bad.
Can you explain that? Sorry.
The Alternet is a new building in Tottenham Court Road. It's been completely regenerated, so it's got 360s.
Right as you come out of the station.
Yeah, just as you come out of the station. And they've regenerated that whole piece of that whole part of Centre Point. So they've got 5,000 standing room only venue downstairs for concerts. They've got this huge atrium that's made up of screens, and they do art shows in there. They've got a second one that's slightly smaller atrium. And then they've got a passageway down the back that goes out to Denmark Street.
Okay.
They've got recording studios and all sorts of stuff. They spent billions on it. But as part of it, there's a media opportunity for out of home. So there's screens on the outside, and there's this incredible canvas on the inside to do something.
There's like 5 screens. You've got the 4 screens around you and the ceiling. Wow. And you can
do all this immersive stuff in there.
It's great. So it was a really good one.
Perfect demographic as well.
And we just covered it for the ceiling. For that, we just covered it in the QR code that took you straight to the registration.
Right.
Literally, everyone walks in there with their camera phone on anyway, so they're doing it.
So it's a great space to put the out of home.
I like the art direction as well. Very sweet mix of sort of diagrammatic pencil-y with lots of colour. It's beautiful. We're going to have to run on.
Yep.
God, I feel like I'm going to get started.
I really hope that's successful, because come October, when the proper election kicks in, the voter numbers in this country
we've got a very good graph to show that the registration on the last day of registration was up 90%.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Well,
so that was
graph
good.
will be on the film.
I reckon they should treat that date as a kind of like the Cannes deadline. Is they should always know they're going to extend it so that you can get 3 bursts of activity before the October election. So you go, that's good. We've extended it. Oh, great. Get some more work in.
Something Drogo would have on his calendar. Exactly marked out. Right, we come to the end.
Was it you that told me that what he used to do? He used to send the empty case in the post.
Do you know this thing? He'd make sure he'd get the last date, and it shows how old this is, and it was when he'd send a Yamatic in, the grey box, and he'd send it empty, and it would say 18 to 30. I remember he did it that year, and Duncan and Howard had done the dogs. So dogs were all shagging each other in this village or something, because they'd seen someone on 18 to 30.
Oh, the Club 18 today stuff. Oh, I love that. I nearly put that in there, actually.
And he said, hey, it's an oldest trick in the book, that, mate. He said, they ring up and they go, oh, there's nothing in it. And then you go, someone must have not put it in, and it buys you another week of editing. Get your editing, get it to run. And they go, okay, we'll make an exception. And it's like, that's it.
You can't do that now. It's all digital submission. Yeah.
Someone didn't press the button.
Someone didn't hit the upload button. God, could you get them to do it now then?
Bloody digital.
Yeah, ruining all our fun. Right, so we are in favourite Billboard territory. Mm-hmm. And again, Tony Cullingham came up in convo, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Tell us, it's the Erudite poster.
Yeah. I just remember him showing this to us probably like first week of Watford. And he was like, they stuck a car with their glue on the billboard. They don't really even need the headline. But the headline there says it also sticks handles to teapots.
Brilliant.
And it's just such a great product demonstration. And I think like the original special build, like you see a lot of special builds now. And I think this is probably one of the originals. And I was researching a little bit into it because Tony only ever showed us the first one with the teapots one.
Yeah.
And I didn't realise that they actually did 2 2 others. So when I was looking for the picture for you, I found that they did 2 more. So they put another car on top of the car to increase the weight of it, and it's still held. And that says the tension mounts. And then when they took the car off, it left a big gaping hole, which again just shows you how strong the glue was. So it's one of those, it's simple and it's just brilliant, because what else could they have done? It's just great.
Yeah,
you're right. It's a great observation you had there, which you could just go put a car, stick it to the poster, Araldite. Yeah, it's pretty good, isn't it? But then the line, it also sticks down as teapots. Oh, that's how it's going to help me at home, or any number of. It has everything, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And if you run that now, that would break Instagram. You know, there is still that all the gear, no idea stuff, and you go. I'm not calling it Habitat. I don't have a go at them, but they did these sort of special builds, but they were just very big lights, and I kept thinking
the recent ones.
Yeah. So it should say something.
Opportunity.
So it should have said something like, even something like, big occasion calls for a big light or something. It just goes 60 years of design, and again. What?
Yeah, I didn't get that.
It's really annoying because they're quite well pulled off. There's a little lamp. IKEA would have done something more with it.
Yeah.
Anyway, but you're
right. This is the original special build. The things that led to.
You two should talk about this other one, because is this your runner-up, Nicola? The Nike one from the other day. Is this right, Dan, the other day?
This is, when I saw this.
Was it? It was April. It was.
Yeah, I think it's April. Is it Caitlin Clark? I might have got the name wrong.
Here it is, Caitlin Clark.
She set the record for the highest. You probably know the facts more than me, actually.
Largest number of collegiate basketball points across men and women. So the NCAA in the US is a big college competition. Basketball, actually there's other sports as well, but basketball, and she scored the most points ever. She's about to enter the draft for the WNBA, so she will leave college and go to the NBA.
So people, you two explain what's going on here.
So she plays for Iowa.
Yeah.
And so in Iowa they have they erected this huge Nike campaign banner on the side of one building.
Right.
And then they didn't put this up at the same time either. This went up slightly later. So when she then got the points, they put up the second one, which was this was never a long shot, which is a picture of the hoop, and they've placed it a good half a mile down the street. And she's well known for her 3-point shot, which is one of the ways she's got so many points. And as I said earlier on, it's like it gives a new meaning to the term from downtown, which is a classic basketball piece of commentary.
I'll tell you what's quite interesting about it, because I know nothing about this story really, but when I saw Nicola said, this is one of my favourite ones, I thought, that's cool. Yeah, that, again, it could have been from the early 80s, couldn't it? Just someone's done, a mega...
Nike are stepping really hard on basketball stuff in the US because they've got LeBron as well. And LeBron's just crossed over 40,000 NBA points, which is huge. Wow. No one's ever going to beat that. His career has lasted 20-odd years in the NBA, and the players just don't last that long. So they've also done other stuff in New York for LeBron and LA for LeBron.
I think for me, it was just one of those, I was like, I wish I'd done that.
Yeah.
It's just like so clever. Just the line, it was never a long shot, and it's clearly is a long shot.
Yeah,
because it's just so lovely, and in Out of Home, just the use of the 2 buildings and how far away it is, and it's just one of those where I'm like, if that doesn't pick up, I'll be very surprised. Yeah,
we were judging Creative Circle the other day, and we sort of kept as outdoor and saying, look, it has to be. I wish I'd done that. That you can't look at it and go, oh yes, can't. You got to go. Look, I'm really, I'm jealous of that. It's a brilliant piece, isn't it? I think that, it won't be a long shot at Cannes, will it? Maybe
no, I think that would do well at Cannes.
And then we got one more, Nicola?
Yeah, Nicola, this is a recent one. I mean, it's hard to think of Out of Home at the minute and not think of Uncommon, because
I know everything they touch.
Do you think they're doing some amazing stuff? But I'm a writer. I love, copy. I just loved the copy on these. I think one of them was,
it's the Ordinary for the listeners. Sorry, we're talking about.
Yes, sorry.
Yeah, go on, Nicola, sorry.
And they were like they're like anti-celeb, aren't they? Because lots of other beauty brands are like pro-celeb. So this was sort of like going against anti-celeb. But it was just the writing on it.
Yeah. So one of the lines just says, "People find it odd that we don't name our products," which says a lot, doesn't it?
Well, I think it's missing. I think
I missed a bit.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Oh God. Yeah. Oh, I've cropped it. Or what about that one? Can you read that?
Someone said working with celebrities would be good for our brand, but we couldn't find one with a degree in biochemistry. They're really witty. That one goes all the way down.
Yeah, I thought I'd kind of missed a bit.
It was a long one.
They've got a real they've got a bit of depth to those, haven't they?
Yeah,
lovely.
But you're right, Uncommon just smashing it out of home. Seemed to be an out of home first agency, if anything. It's just like, wow.
Yeah, we feel a bit weird on our show because, like, quite often we'd be looking and going, "Oh fuck, that's good. He's done it. Oh, that's Uncommon again."
Yeah,
just like they're sponsoring us.
We're going to be there in a few weeks. We're going to do an agency special over there to talk to some of the team. So
we've got
excited for that.
Yeah, they are killing it in out of home, I think.
Well, you've not done a bad job today, so we want to say
fantastic job
and really enjoyed it. So I've been standing quite a bit, but you seem to have managed that pretty well.
It's all right. I'm going to get my neck massage.
Yeah, still got half a flapjack there.
Yeah, I'm going to see. I'm going for
before you do. Any tips for young creatives listening? We get lots of feedback all the time that they're kind of. Everyone stays on to right at the end of the podcast to hear the tips from such great people. So, any tips for creatives when they're thinking about out of home work and creative for out of home?
I always think I've got two pieces of advice. Again, one I'm going to nick from Tony, which was if it's not going to fit on a post-it note, it won't work in out of home. So I think
that's great. Yeah,
unless it's long dwell, which you can get away with a little bit more, or a special build like you can break that rule a little bit, but. 9 times out of 10, I think the idea's got to fit on a post-it note. And then my second piece is again just that night, the contextualized piece. I would think about. I love and what I respond to is when out of home is contextualized. So thinking about where you put it and who you're talking to in that moment, in that space. Why
are you talking to them? Well, where is it going to be and what mindset are they in? Yeah, it's good.
And sort of using that space to disrupt as opposed to just being some wallpaper.
No, I think that's a great shout. And I don't think enough people think about it either. It's like the environment as a canvas itself.
Yeah.
So that one works perfectly because it's two different sites and there's a story, it's relevant to the sport and what's happening. So yes.
Yeah, thanks so much. I mean, for all your stories and your advice and your honesty and talking about your nan, and honestly, it's been. I feel like I need to have a little lie down before we do another one. But it's been brilliant. Thank you, really.
Thanks
loved
for having me on. Thanks for inviting me.
That's great. No, totally. Wow, I need to have a little lie down. I mean, I know it's hot in here because the air conditioning is not working, but there was a lot of steamy work there.
Yeah, Horny Cultural Society, your new member.
Please just fill that in completely. Yeah, I mean, I think you and I, not much can shock us, if you think about what we've done and stuff. But the story about Nan.
Oh, brilliant. With Margaret.
I'm genuinely not sure if we're going to top that.
Joe over the road as well.
No, we let in for dinner.
Oh, he's now having a coffee.
Was that on the show? Did we keep that bit?
Yeah, that's in.
Anyway, so, Nicola Wood, thank you so much. That was one of our absolute, I think it's going to be X-rated, isn't it? Like the old
absolute belter.
Sticker, parental advisory.
But also a lesson in, get your grandparents in your ads.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
Get into cut. But all the work she's done, sort of touching modern culture is great, and just love the sound of the way they work there with a behavioural, what was it?
Behavioural scientist.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Giving Ogilvy's a little extra there. So, no, it was brilliant. I loved it. So, thank you.
Yeah,
Nicola.
Thanks, Nick. And thank you to our sponsors, Grand Visual and Town and Outdoor.
And let's obviously thank Soho Radio for everything as usual.
And your standing desk.
Standing up and see if we need this next time. Bye.
Bye.